Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity to practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. My name is Constant Brooks, and this episode I talk about overtime and holiday pay. Because that's one of the things that you have to realize as well. You're not doing the work as well. That would be something as well that would be in the business of science or as such. When you actually, you're talking about paying these people. You're not talking about paying people for a year of work and then actually multiple years to make a business successful. A lot of years, it's a lot of money, and what do you realize that you're gonna pay for a lot of you're gonna pay a lot of unnecessary money, and this is one of the unnecessary money as well. As if you're actually making people work, so there will be laws and such to stipulate, okay, this is how many times you can actually make an employee work and such. If they work more than this, then they actually things that you have to actually do, and what you may have to actually do is pay them overtime, which maybe be double pay or whatever. So you have to actually be able to account for that. And then not only account for that, you have to actually have measures in place. Do you want your employee to work overtime? Maybe your business trying to say, okay, we're not going to make any employees work overtime. So you set that expectation when you first start that, okay, you'll not be working any overtime. Once it's time for you to go home, you go home. You not be liable for any pay after X hours. So make that statement clear so that there's no you can actually do that, or maybe you can, but that's stuff you have to think about. So you actually found out how you're going to pay them, but you have to find out about the different scenarios. When I was actually doing the work, you learn the basic stuff that you're gonna do, but there's so many scenarios of pays, bereavements, bereavements, vacation, all these scenarios are gonna come, and if you don't want being an employee, you actually see those situations and be like, okay, alright, so these are stuff very important as well. Holiday pay, you have this national holiday or whatever holiday, you're not expected to work on that day. You're supposed to celebrate it, but what happens that you live in a globalized world now, and what happens that your company may not be based in the country that you made the business. So what happens that the holiday is different. You're maybe be a certain type of company in the X country, but you're in X country, so you want that company in that country to celebrate your holidays, not their holidays. So boom, you're actually getting the employee to work on the holiday that they will celebrate. So you have to actually compensate them for that. That's something that you would not realize actually until you start doing it. And you say, okay, you want to expand to another country. Those are the stuff that you think about. And that's all. These are important things that you have to learn about certain basis. That's easy. It's not easy. That's one thing that I learned. The first to actually last a year, that's actually hard. But once you do, then there's so many things that you can learn that can apply to in second year. But the thing about it as well is that once you start, you can't stop. Just like I'm doing this 9 to 5 now. If you realize, once I started the work, I basically couldn't stop. I have to basically be adjusting on those little day offs that I have. I do the little adjustments and stuff because I can't stop. I can't just be like, okay, and then just take a week off to basically just recalibrate. No, I can't stop. So that's what I realize is same thing with the business as well. Can't really stop. You won't really have any breaks for a while and such. So that's basically one of the things as well that I think about when you're paying employees overtime and holiday pay in business science. So that's basically it for this episode. Thank you for listening and look forward for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
For the week 40, which will be week 3 of this new phase. Like I say, a new department. And what happened was, I passed the first test on the first try, so that was great. But now, going to a new week, I have another test again. So that so that's all this training gonna be. Test, test, test until. So you just don't know. So every week is another suspense. Another week, another suspense. So, but that first part, the first one, and what I guess what skill this 9 to 5 will kind of teach me is how to kind of practice how to study and properly take notes and understand knowledge quickly. Because what happens that if